Thank you, and I am your Sergeant at Arms for this evening. My name is Vera Elizabeth. Welcome to Golden Speakers Toastmasters Club of Fairfield, Iowa. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our president, Will Burns.
Whoa, Burns!
Thank you, Vera. Now I will start off with the mission. The mission of this club, and every Toastmasters club, is to provide a mutually supportive learning environment where each member has the opportunity to develop oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster personal development and self-confidence.
Yay!
I'll start off here by talking to our guests here. I see we have three of them. I'll start here on the right. We have Rhonda. Welcome
Hi,
back.
I'm Rhonda Whitaker. Thank you very much. I'm enjoying this time here.
Yay!
And to the left, we have two new guests as well.
Oh, no, one's a member.
No, member.
Member and...
Yes, and I'm a member in Chicago, and I'm about to be a member here.
Yay!
So I just moved here.
Welcome.
And now it is my pleasure to turn the meeting over to our Toastmaster, who will start us off here, Dan Craig.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, soon-to-be members, viewers at home. Our theme tonight is leader, so we'll see how we can develop that. We're going to get started by introducing our role players. So first I'd like to ask Jean Simonton-Craig, our timer, to explain her role.
Thank you very much. I'm the timer, and it's my job to make sure that all parts of the meeting are on time and stay within the agenda. Table topics are 1 to 2 minute speeches. The green light is turned on at 1 minute. The yellow light is turned on at 1 minute 30 seconds. And the red light is turned on at 2 minutes and remains on until the end of the speech. You have 30 seconds after that red light goes on to finish before you become disqualified. Paired speeches are usually 5 to 7 minutes. The green light is turned on at 5 minutes, the yellow light is turned on at 6 minutes, and the red light is turned on at 7 minutes and remains on until the end of the speech. And again, you have 30 seconds at the end when the red light goes on to finish before you are disqualified. Evaluations are 3 minutes. The green light is turned on at 2 minutes, the yellow light is turned on at 2 minutes 30 seconds, and the red light is turned on at 3 minutes and remains on until the end of the evaluation. And again, you have 30 seconds before you are disqualified. Table topic speakers need to speak for at least 1 minute to qualify for votes. Thank you, and I'll be giving a report at the end of the meeting.
Yay!
Next, let's hear from our ah counter, Vera Elizabeth.
Yay!
Tonight my job is to watch for repeats, overuse of ands, so's, buts, you knows, ahs, and maybe pauses if they're really long, but pauses are a good thing. So I'll report later. Thank you.
Now let's have our grammarians report. I'll ask Cindy Trainer to come up for that.
No!
Word of the day is influence. How many people remember Sesame Street?
Yeah?
Yay!
Dun, 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 right? Okay, the grammarian that I'm supposed to be tonight, and the word of the day is influence, and it's a noun. a power directly or indirectly affecting a person or a course of events. Power to sway based on position, and there's a few more part A's and B definitions in there I didn't write down. To use it in a sentence, his influence on the club powered Golden Speakers to become the #1 club in Iowa.
Yo!
I'm also going to make note of correct and incorrect usage of language. Now note, I'm not an English professional or English teacher or even editor, so oops. There you go, Mary Elizabeth, you got one already. Thus, I may miss a few if I'm not listening carefully. But I will report creative language whenever possible, and I definitely will give a full report at the end.
There are several role players we'll hear from later. Our general evaluator is Jesus Rios. We are going to have Tom Trainer as our joke master. That'll be something to look forward to. And I'm scheduled to be the ballot counter, but I think we'll just sort of ad-lib that when the time comes. Now, it is time for us to get rolling with the meeting. Our first section is table topics, and tonight we have a longer section of table topics. We've got a couple of people signed up to be table topics masters. Stephanie Chambers is on tap first.
Toastmaster fellow Toastmasters, honoured guests and viewers at home. The theme I wanted to do tonight was reminiscing, and I thought, if you don't mind, that I'd show you how we do table topics in Chicago. So the way we did it was that we asked everyone if they want to participate, and if anyone says they don't want to participate, then I won't ask them to talk about the topic. So I'll mention the topic and then I'll pick someone. Okay, so it's a little different, and just see if you like it this way. You may or may not. So is everyone open for participating, or is there anyone who doesn't want to participate this time? Everyone as well? Okay.
Yep.
All right, so I've got quite a few, but just let me know if you think I've taken enough time. So on the theme of reminiscing, first table topic is, what is a souvenir you keep, love and treasure, and why? I've just moved, so it's been a lot of boxes, so this has been my mind. Okay, so I'll pick someone. So what is a souvenir you keep, love and treasure, and why? Vera?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home, and guests. So not having a treasure that I keep and cherished, I'll have to come up with something to talk about. So I think I'll just take it off the top and run with it. I love antiques. Some of you may know or may not know. And it's a joy to me to go to these estate auctions and reminisce. Good way to do it. Take a journey in other people's lives and see the things that they've cherished and how they've, collected throughout the years and have their collections, and then when they go and they disperse, and you get to kind of walk down memory lane by doing that. I am particularly fond of old tools. I just think they're there's something so unique about handcrafted tools where they, you know, how they have these tomahawks that once upon a time was with a stone and string tied around to a wooden handle. And when I find an iron piece that looks like the first iron tomahawk, it was just quite a treasure. I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
So the second one is, what is an experience that is very meaningful to you? An experience that you had that has been very meaningful to you.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored and distinguished guests, and viewers at home. One distinct memory I have, a very fond memory that I have, is as a very young boy that I would spend time with my father. And he often worked outside of Fairfield. He was a contractor up in Cedar Rapids a lot of the time. But I always remember on the weekends, he'd always come down, he'd always spend time with me. He used to go on these walks around we used to call them the Loop. So we would go by the old Ball Diamond over there on Glasgow, or Burlington, go around the hospital and then all the way around. And he always used to go. And my father, if you don't know him, is a man who has an amazing memory to remember anything that he's ever read. So he would just talk about history, about politics, about science, and I was just so amazed at the amount of time that he took to talk about that. And that's always kind of instilled in me a sense of, I guess, a sense of learning, a sense of wonder at the world, and just at the deep depths of human knowledge. Thank you.
Okay, following on the reminiscing theme, describe your bedroom as a child. Describe your bedroom as a child. Diane?
Good evening, Toastmasters, guest, and viewers at home. The first thing to know is I was the oldest. It was me, then my brother who was 2 years younger, and then my sister who was 7 years younger. Part of this will be what my mom told me. I was born in New York City, and she told me that when I was 2 years old, that we made the big move 30 miles east to Long Island, to a town called Babylon. And that was like going to the other side of the world, like going to Australia in those days. I was told that I had a bedroom downstairs next to Mom and Dad, and even at 2, I begged to go live upstairs. My memory is being 12 steps up from Mom and Dad all by myself in the attic and just loving it. And I remember there was a lot of pink. I remember white nightstand. My favorite toy was this little toy poodle dog. And the only time that you would hear me pound run down the stairs is when there was lightning. I was petrified. And that was when I would leave my precious room to go into my parents' bedroom. So that's my memory of my first bedroom. Thank you.
No!
Okay, I think I'll skip the next one, which was your describe your favourite toy, because I've already covered that one. Okay. Describe your best friend as a child and why you like them. Describe your best friend as a child and why you like them. Is this?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, welcome, and viewers at home. Just recently I was thinking about my friend, my childhood friend, was the same age as I was, totally dark skin, and we call him as a nickname Chin. To me, he is like my brother. I have not seen him in over 30 years, but I still miss him, and I would like to one day find him and tell him the good memories that we got. I really would like to see him, and maybe one day I can show him this video. I think of him because walking with him on the street, especially with the childhood that I had, it was like having knives behind my back. I feel protected with him, and I know that he felt the same way. I don't need to be looking over my shoulder because I know that somebody was always watching my back, and I was always watching his back. We got into a lot of trouble, but we also did some good deeds. We did some work. We helped anytime that we could. It was more bad than good. But nevertheless, it was some good experiences that I gained out of all the trouble that I got into with him. Because now in life, I can appreciate the knowledge that I gained as a little child running the streets. Knowledge that I can apply on today's life. Even though I cannot go back and change the past, I go to the past, to my childhood with my friend, and just pick those mistakes that I make. Then I choose not to call them mistakes. I choose to call them lessons of life. And as of today's knowledge that I still apply in my everyday life. That is the memory of my childhood friend, Chin. Thank you.
So I know we have 2 tab dots left, so one more, do you think?
We've got lots
Got lots of time.
Lots of time. Okay. All right, next one. What profession did you dream of becoming as a child? What did you want to become when you were a child? And I'll choose one.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home. My earliest recollection of what I would be when I grow up was it was military. There was never a question about that. But it wasn't until 11 when I saw Sergeant Stryker, John Wayne, Sergeant Stryker sends of Iwo Jima, I knew I'd be in the Marine Corps. So that was kind of a done deal. Then it was just a question of going through the time, getting bigger, getting older. And as soon as I could, I had my folks sign me because I was too young to be able to just walk in and sign up. And that was great. That was great because I didn't have any plans past that. Just, you go out and you go to war and you kill a bunch of bad guys and at some point you get killed off and it's done deal. Done. I didn't have a vision of, I'll get a job and I'll go to school and get married. None of that registered in my life. It was just go, 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 and then just when I looked at the future, it was just this black wall. And that was all right. Except I fell in love with this little girl in high school. And we get close and all of that. And then at some point I was stationed, I thought I volunteered for Vietnam, but it was Vieques. Started with V, I thought. I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, I probably still not. But anyways, so I was 6 months in this tropical paradise, and I thought I was going to be in the jungle. But be that as it may, I befriended a Korean veteran. We talked, and he has all his war stories, and he says, Ron, you got to break it off with her. I said, what are you talking about? Your girlfriend, you got to break it off. What are you talking about? I said, you got a girlfriend, break it off. Go to Nam, there's no doubt about it. You don't know how you're going to come back or if you're going to come back. Break it off. It's the only good thing to do. And that was hard. It was hard. No. But then I got it. I saw the wisdom of it. Wrote the letter. Broke her heart. She was going to see my mom. All the rest of that kind of stuff. And it was depressing. Very depressing. But it seemed to be the right thing to do. So when I found out the next thing, my sister's boyfriend just joined the Marines, and they got married, and he went to Nam like a month later. I was like, no, you don't know. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So guys in the service seem a little weird because they get different information that the civilian will never hear. I don't get it.
It's been interesting hearing everyone around this. Okay. What did you do to make your friends laugh as a child? What did you do to make your friends laugh as a child? Sorry,
Jean.
Jean.
I got it.
Actually, I'm going to flip back to one of the previous questions that I actually almost came out of my seat up to answer, but I was the timer and you probably didn't think I could do that. I want to talk about the room from childhood, because I was also the eldest. And I had a brother that was 2 years younger than me, and he got his own room because he was the boy. And then I had two sisters, 2 years younger than my brother, and then one that was way down there, like 5 years. And they stayed together. They were rooming. But I was the eldest, and I had always two beds, because my room was the guest room. So whenever we had guests, I got marginalized in there, or I got bumped out, but I got to be in the guest room for all the other times. My grandmother would come. Her name was Gagi. That was grandmother, the way the grandkids said it, Gagi. And she would get put in the room. I would be sleeping in the other bed, and I literally would not sleep all night because Gagi snored so strong. And she would say, no, honey, just if I'm snoring, you just come over and say, Gagi, you're snoring. Well, how many times are you supposed to do that in a given night before you're done? I'd say to my Mom, please, don't make me stay in there with Gagi. It's like, no, you got to stay in there with Gagi. The other thing about that room, because it was a double, I always had two beds. There was my bed that I slept in, which is usually closer to the wall, and then this spare bed. And the spare bed had all of the other stuff in my room piled up on it at all times. It was just piling. My mom would come in and she'd say, I told you to clean that bed off. And she'd take her arm and she would just, and all the stuff would go off on the floor, but invariably it would all creep back up and get back up on that bed. Those are some fond memories I have of that room, and there are actually some other things that I could tell you about my room situation that probably contribute to the trauma that I feel today, but I'll save that for future times.
You're done.
Oh, done.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Turn it over to Satish. Yes. Yay!
Hi. So we'll continue with table topics, but we'll do it our traditional way, our club way. Thank you. That was nice. We enjoyed.
Yeah, great. Nice.
So as you know, table topics is about challenging members to develop their impromptu skills, which you did very well. But now, here, I'm going to give you some topics based on our theme, which is leadership. So first, basically, I got this piece of paper in our conference room at work. I hope it doesn't have any copyrights. I'm going to use it. I got a definition for leadership, which is the process of influencing a situation towards higher levels. Not just a single act, rather a continuous chain of behavior that elevates an environment to a higher or more beneficial level. A higher level is one that benefits the individual, the group, and the greater group. And according to Dr. Warren Bennis, the wise use of power is leadership. So now, leadership has got different elements, key processes, and practices and features. So the first volunteer can come here and you can choose, say 1 to 7, and I'll pick one of the feature or key process which you can elaborate. I saw his hand first. Please come on, Aces. 1 to 7. 7. Okay. Guidance. Guidance means direction, support, advice. Helping another in making the right choices. Key to providing guidance to a person or a situation in an understanding of the critical components and how they relate to one another. Yes, guidance equals direction. Support, advice. Helping another in making the right choices. Key to provide guidance to a person or a situation in an understanding of the critical components and how they relate to one another.
Good luck.
Good evening once again, fellow guests. Welcome back again. Viewers at home. Guidance is something that we all need. Unfortunately for me, something I did not have as a little child growing up. I wish that I would have somebody to take me under their wing and guide me, show me the way, point me which way I needed to go. I had to look, I had to stand up on a hill myself and look around, see which way I needed to go, which was the best way for me to go. And sometimes I choose the right path. I choose the rough path, the rocky path. But now as I look back, I feel satisfied with my work that I did, because that path was my guidance. That showed me the way, the easy way to life. I know the hard way, I know the easy way, and I like the easy way better. Last Mother Road, but it was a path that I had to choose by myself. Now with my experience, I'm hoping to enlighten someone, to be able to influence, so I can teach them, I can point them in the right direction, because I know that if they go that way, it's going to be rough. And that is my goal, using my experience to influence somebody to take the right path.
Kristen.
Vision. Vision is an understanding and perspective of the direction and reality into which we are moving. Where are we going and what does it look like? What does it look like? Where are we going and what does it look like?
Mr. Table Topics Master. New members. Guests. Here's a home. Vision. Interesting thought about vision. Nobody ever asks you, how much do you have? When you go get your Iowa driver's license, they use a silly machine that if you wear glasses, it obstructs your peripheral vision. But they want to know if you have peripheral vision, so they say, what do you see? And you say, I don't see anything. She'll say, tip your head. So then you, oh yeah, I see the light. Well, life is kind of like that. Vision is something where people point us in the right direction. They can tell you, they can show you, or they can take you along a process. Toastmasters is a process of learning how to know what your vision is. Unless someone tells you what you're seeing, you don't have words for it. They don't explain to you what's happening. Without the verbiage, you kind of don't get your experience. You don't have the intellectual knowledge to go with your experience. Toastmasters is the process of have a vision, see the vision, be the vision, do the vision. And it was set up as process. It's been refined for 87 years, I believe. Is that the right number? Something like that? Into a process where everyone can succeed, everyone can find their vision, live it, be it, enjoy it. Mr. Tabletop.
Who's next? Please.
Yay!
1, 5, 3.
Nurture.
What?
Nourish. Nurture. To support the development, to strengthen and make strong, to make whole and good from the inside out. This is the key role of the leader.
Okay. Welcome, my new home. All of our job is to nourish each other. We get lost in getting stuck within ourselves and our traps within ourselves as we get lost in trying to nourish the other person, but often we're choking them. And we don't get this concept of balance. Nourish is about establishing balance. I'm a psychologist, and I deal all the time with this concept of balance. And how do we nourish each other? And how do we not get lost in that, in our intent to help somebody, and yet while we're trying to help them, we're ripping them apart. So I just had a session with a client today, and a couple. And the man is really missing the point of where the woman is coming from. The woman's missing where the man is. They're missing each other. They're trying, the woman was trying to nourish her son, who's been using and being inappropriate in a number of directions that was hurting themselves. But by doing so, she was getting lost. And in trying to help him, she was in fact hurting him. The man was getting lost in what he was trying to establish, and he wasn't hearing where his wife was at, he wasn't hearing where his son was at. And therefore, their intent, both of their intents was good. Both of their intents was nourished. Both of their intent was to create something so much more out of life. And yet, without that balance, without that understanding of not only where the other person is, but where they are, they take that nourishment away. Nourishment is about the leadership to create balance within ourselves as in the other. Thank you.
Next, one more. Who's going to be the last lucky person?
You want to do it? Go, Rhonda, go!
Question number 1, 2, 4, and 5.
2.
Taste.
Taste.
Where both personal pleasure and pure beauty coexist, an aesthetic judgment based on a subjective feeling.
Repeat, please.
Where taste, what does it mean? Where both personal pleasure and pure beauty coexist, an aesthetic judgment based on a subjective feeling.
Thank you, Mr. Tabletop.
Yo!
taste is such a personal decision. I see it happen every day. I teach fitness classes, and everybody has their own taste in what they want to do, how they want to participate in class, if they want to have a side conversation while I'm telling people what to do, and we get started, and then they say, "What did you say? What are we doing?" And one day, I just had to say, "Get the water out of your ears." And one lady took it pretty well. The other one suddenly had to leave and go to work. Taste is a very big responsibility when we try to put words in someone else's mouth or tell them how to feel. It's a danger zone. It's a trapeze act. My sense of taste is more practical and down to earth. I like to get things done. I like to see people have a good time. I like to see us progress in the class. People lose weight, they get their health back, they get over diabetes, acute symptoms, and they really feel happy about participating in the class. So my taste is to continue with a regular fitness routine and help others as a patient and kind guide. And patience, sometimes it takes a lot of patience, folks. Thank you very much.
The meeting over to our.
No.
I do the.
Vote.
Yeah. Okay. Our timer. Did all the speakers qualify? I think we have more than 8 today.
Yes.
So and who are they? And otherwise, who didn't participate?
Our table topics presenters: Vera, Will, Diane, Jesus Part 1, Ron, me, Jean, Jesus Part 2, Tom, and our guest, and I wasn't sure what his name was,
Scott,
and Rhonda. Want me to read those again, or you guys?
Pick one.
Welcome back. Now it's
John.
to turn the meeting over.
Your table topics evaluator.
Table topics evaluator Ron.
Ron. Yo!
Thank you, Satish. Well, that's a full evening. Table topics, as we know, is impromptu speaking. You've got 30 seconds from the time you come up, take a question to organize your thoughts, and then begin. We'd like to ideally begin with a greeting of Toastmasters guests, viewers at home, and then launch in. And ideally, we would start with a wonderful, rousing introduction, a very sensical body, and then wrap it up with a fine conclusion. Everybody did a really great job tonight. I got a few fine details on here. Vera, you did a great job coming up there. Only thing for you is now, you've gotten the speaking, it's not a problem anymore, but what you need is to use the stage, and using the stage is a challenge for all of us, there's a mention for everybody here, is that we use it in a systematic manner, rather than, we don't want to stand still the whole time, but we don't want to just pace. We want something in between, make a point, and then maybe walk over here and make another point. So we need for you to move a little more, and also it's time for us to speak up and get it out there, really boom it out, because the whole time is kind of like this. And you're saying great stuff, it's just great. Talk to the back of the room. Good job. Will, always go Army. Good gestures, a little bit glued in one spot. You just kind of came out here and stayed the whole time. Now, a table, it's not a long time. A 7-minute talk, you'd expect to see more stage, but nevertheless, it's good a little bit more movement. It makes it a little easier for people to stay focused on you. And a little stronger eye contact. Okay. The eye contact, ideally, we would zero in on one person and make the point, and then take the next person and make another point like that. Diane, great greeting and great gestures. Excellent clumping down the stairs. I was going to nail you for standing in one place, but when you did that clumping thing, I thought you did save yourself there.
I was leading up to it.
Well done, Jesus. You really have made such tremendous strides of improvement. You're really just so polished when you come out now. Very good job. Between part 1 and part 2. So part 2, you did start to get into a hand gesture thing, kind of getting into this kind of thing. And sometimes that makes a point. Sometimes it comes across as a nervous thing. We start doing this, and we start doing this. So we need to just be attentive on that. Are we using it to make a point, or is it just we kind of don't know what to do at that moment?
Was just really personal.
Ah,
It was getting emotional.
there you go. So it can be that too. And that's the funny thing, even with the filler words, sometimes they are sensical in context. But in general, they'll know you. Okay, Gene, excellent job. Greeting, use of stage, eye contact, did a really great job. It's hard to fault the queen. Tom, vision, excellent. Did you stand in one spot?
I love it.
Seemed like it. Again, it's always challenging to find something. Scott, excellent job. Really excellent. I mean, just took a few seconds there, and boom, and away you went. Very deep, very fluent. And also, you've got it. You looked at each one. You made points. You covered the whole floor like this. Your gestures were effective. You used the stage. Congratulations. Very good use. Rhonda, really sweet. You came up here, just took a second, launched right into your talk. Great confidence, great vocal variety. You boomed your voice. The feeling was in your voice. This is great stuff. The stage, again, it could have been you ended up from here to here to here to here to here, and could have been maybe a little bit too much, but it was effective in the sense that you were making points at different places. So that's it for my report. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Now I will turn the meeting over to our evaluator, who is,
Just did it.
Yeah, we go.
right, we've now done the gift office evaluation, and now it's time for
Ron.
Ron. Step up here, and once again, to review. I think Dan up there.
There you go.
Dan.
Turns out we had a little redundancy in our evaluation jobs. We'll hear Will's version later, much later. That's the end of section 1, table topics. Now we're going to move on to the prepared speeches portion of the meeting. To begin that, we're going to have the evaluator for Diane, who is Ron, read the objectives for her talk.
Yay!
Thank you, Mr.
Just
Toastmaster.
turn the fan.
Diane has made some progress. She's passed her company communicator. She's working in the advanced manuals. This talk is going to be from the Advanced Communicator Series, Interpretive Reading. She's going to be doing project number 5, the oratorical speech. And the objectives of this talk are going to be to understand the structure of an effective speech, to interpret and present a famous speech. She's asked for 5 to 7 minutes. Her introduction, Diane will present a speech from former President Ronald Reagan gave to the United States in the evening of the Shuttle Challenger disaster. In this tragedy, the astronauts and one teacher were killed when the shuttle blew up, exploded in flight. About 1 minute after takeoff. Ronald Reagan sat at his desk in the Oval Office in a very somber mood and looked directly at the camera. She will not make eye contact. We're not here. This is a two-in TV. So tonight's speech is going to be a challenger, and I'd like the camera to go for just a moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, I plan to speak tonight and report on the state of the Union, but events of this morning have led me to change those plans. Today is a day for mourning and remembering. Nancy and I are pained to the core at the tragedy of the Challenger, the Shuttle Challenger. Today is a day of national loss. 19 years ago, almost to the day, we lost 3 astronauts on the ground in a terrible accident. But we've never lost an astronaut in flight. We've never had a tragedy like this. And perhaps we've forgotten the courage that it took for the Challenger crew to do what they attempted to do. The Challenger 7 knew the dangers of their job, and they faced the challenge with brilliance. We mourn those 7 heroes: Michael Smith, Dick Scobie, Judith Resnick, Ronald McNair, Ellison Onizuka, Gregory Jarvis, and Krista McAuliffe. We mourn their loss as a nation together. For the families of the 7, we cannot bear as you do the full impact of this tragedy. But we feel the loss, and we are thinking about you so very much. Your loved ones were daring and brave, and they had that special grace, that special spirit that says, "Give me a challenge and I'll meet it with joy." They had a hunger to explore the universe and discover its truth. They wanted to serve us, they did serve us, and they served us well. We've grown used to wonders in this country. It's hard to dazzle us, but for the last 25 years, the United States Space Program has done just that. We've grown used to the idea of space, and perhaps we forget that we've only just begun. We're still pioneers. They, the members of the Challenger crew, were pioneers. And I want to say something to the school children of America who were watching live coverage of the takeoff this morning. I know it's hard to understand, but sometimes painful things like this happen. It's all part of the process of exploration and discovery. It's all part of taking a chance and expanding man's horizons. The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted, it belongs to the brave. The Challenger crew was pulling us into the future, and we'll continue to follow them. I've always had great faith in and respect for the United States Space Program, and what happened today does not diminish it. We don't hide our space program. We don't keep secrets and cover things up. We do it all up front and in public. That's the way freedom is, and we won't change it for a minute. We'll continue our quest in space. There will be more shuttle flights and more shuttle crews. And yes, there'll be more volunteers, more civilians, and more teachers in space. Nothing ends here. Our hopes and our journeys will continue. I want to add that I wish I could speak to every man and woman who works for NASA, or for those of you who worked on this mission. Your dedication and professionalism have moved and impressed us for decades. And we know your anguish. We share it. There's a coincidence today. On this day, 390 years ago, Sir Francis Drake died off the coast of Panama. At those times, it was the oceans that were the new horizons. A historian said that Drake lived by the sea, died by the sea, and was buried in the sea. Well, today we can say that of the Challenger crew. Their dedication, like Drake's, was complete. The crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger honored us by the manner in which they lived. We will never forget them, nor the last time we saw them, this morning, as they prepared for their journey and waved goodbye and slipped the surly bonds of earth to touch the face of God. Thank you. I just want to add that if you go Google 35 of the greatest oratorical speeches, it's interesting to see which 35 were there, and this was one of them. The others. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. That's our only speaker for tonight, so we won't be voting. We are going to take 2 minutes to evaluate the speaker. Yay! And now it's time for the evaluation section. To run that part of the meeting, I'd like to introduce our general evaluator, Jesus Rios.
Yo!
How am I was supposed to evaluate? I would just believe that the general evaluator will evaluate the evaluators. But today we're gonna have one.
Ha!
Well, two.
Two?
2 but 1.
Okay, okay.
Not gonna draw.
Oh, I see.
Well, I'm gonna finish real quick.
No, he's got to evaluate first.
Ron has to evaluate, and then you have to call Ron up.
Okay, I'd like to bring out our only evaluator of the night. Please welcome Ron Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, guests, viewers. Diane, excellent job. It's just a significant moment in American history. And like when JFK was assassinated, it's kind of one of those things, do you remember where you are? And everyone remembers, because it was just such a stunning thing. And I think you captured that and presented it, because it was a very emotional point, but how do you present that? Such a hard thing, but do it in such a way that people feel comforted and solace without bugging out emotions. Anyway, the main thing is that it was a TV presentation to the camera, and she did an excellent job of ignoring us, which is always a bit strange when you have people looking at you, and we just finished talking about making good eye contact, and now you're over here like, nope, don't do it, don't do it. Because it sort of points against you in a sense. So the camera contact, that was very well done. Wearing the jacket was very effective too, and it added that extra something. The whole situation was well done. The only thing that, in terms of that possibly could have been done better, and I know you already explained that due to what happened today, you just weren't quite as up to speed as you might have liked to have been, would be just to own the material even just a little bit better. Because there were a couple of, just a little, no big deal, but a couple little flubby kind of things there, that in the pages and stuff that it would have lent itself if that wasn't there, but it didn't hurt anything though. That's the fun part. You carried it off so well that it didn't really distract. Because people, it's not bad or wrong to use notes. It's just when you get into this thing here, and then you start this kind of thing. That's especially for new folks. But there's a whole bunch of seasoned players here, so we don't have to worry about that. So that's the main thing for it, is just that you did an excellent job. And I appreciate you personally bringing this back up, because it was a significant event. It was good to review it. And I don't know if I heard that talk or not, but it felt like the first time. And I'm glad I did get a chance to hear, so thank you again for that. Mr. General Evaluator?
Whoa, wait a minute.
Now it's my turn to evaluate. Evaluator. Ron, I like how you give positive things and encourage for Vera, that obviously we all know Vera. We know that she has really risen. She has come a long way, but still she has some fine tuning to do. and you bring those points out to her, and that's how we grow here. I like how you did for Will. Will also is a great speaker. You bring those points of him. Just make more eye contact. Because the idea of talking in Toastmasters is to trap your audience. Then when you get in the front of an audience and you start speaking, you don't want their mind to wander. You want to trap them. Catch their attention. Make sure they don't go nowhere. They start wandering. But when you make eye contact, it's like you're throwing a rope and lassoing them. I got you. You're going to pay attention to what I'm saying now. Just do the fact that I'm making eye contact. You know that this is making a personal, really good point of that. Rhonda, she's our guest here, and she also came really bubbly, really confident of herself. I assume that for being a trainer, she has to speak to a group, and she feels really confident doing it here. And again, you give her some points about using the stage. Because if you're going to be a speaker, that plays a big role, using the stage, moving with purpose, what you intend. Like you said, you don't want to just be pacing like a nervous lion in a cage. You want to be moving with authority. You want to command authority and attention. And you're doing that by pacing and really trapping again your audience. I was supposed to come up with something to give you, Ron, but I'm going to use your words. Obviously, you're a seasoned speaker. It is hard to follow the king. So I really don't have a suggestion. I think you just did a wonderful job.
You.
Get the timers.
All reports.
Okay, now we're going to get reports from our role players. And we're going to start with our timer. Will you please give us a report?
I'm glad I get to influence the meeting in this way. Table topics, lots of table topics. Vera's 1 minute 42 seconds, Will 1 minute 27 seconds, Diane 1 minute 38 seconds, Jesus part 1 2 minutes and 1 second, Ron 2 minutes 17 seconds, myself 2 minutes 18 seconds, Jesus part 2 1 minute 35 seconds, Tom 1 minute 55 seconds, Scott 2 minutes 12 seconds, and Rhonda 1 minute 28 seconds. Speech, Diane 6 minutes 20 seconds, really with the gravitas there. Ron, as a table topics evaluator, was 3 minutes 38 seconds, and we were giving extra time just because of all of that. And then for evaluating Diane, it was 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Thank you.
Now we will hear from Marion. Vera Ross, will you please give us a report?
O'Connor.
I'm the author.
Yes, my apologies. The icon of Vera Ross.
Everyone did very well tonight. Stephanie had one so, and I had you know and so. Diane had 3 repeats and 1 so. Jesus had an extra butt and pause and 1 repeat. Me, a butt. Satish, 1 butt and 1 repeat. And the rest did very well as far as I know. Thank you.
Now we're going to hear a report from our grammarian, Cindy Tracy.
I'm trying to influence the grammarian.
Yeah, okay. The word of the day users, Jesus and Jean, Simon and Craig. Did I miss anybody else? Yeah, Vera, Rose, here Elizabeth, and Ron snuck in at the last minute. What really struck me, Will Burns said, deep depths of human knowledge. Diane, there was a lot of pink when she was talking about her bedroom. Jesus, in his first talk, was walking on the street was like having knives behind my back. I felt protected. And his second appearance, I choose the rocky path, see the no, that's wrong. It is hard to call the king. I've never heard that one before. I want to remember that one. That was great. Mistakes, I choose to call them lessons of life. Ron said the Marine Corps, kind of a done deal. Hard to fault the Queen with referencing Jean. You boomed your voice. I like that as part of a description. You're not the sharpest tool in the shed. That always makes me laugh. I think about my grandfather's tool shed on the farm. There's a lot of tools in that one. Jean said the spare bed had all the stuff on it. Tom, see the vision, do the vision, and be the vision. And Scott, nourishment is about balance. Wanda, get the water out of your ears. A danger zone, a trapeze act. And Diane, slip the surly lines of space.
Now it's time for dessert. The joke of the night. Tom Trainer.
Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home. These are one-liners about the black coffee. No one can understand the truth until he drinks of coffee's frothy goodness. Sheikh Abdul Qadir, 1587. A morning without coffee is like sleep, Anonymous. Decaffeinated coffee is the devil's blend, Anonymous. Decaffeinated coffee is kind of like kissing your sister, Bob Irwin. Coffee, the finest organic suspension ever devised, from Star Trek Voyager. A mathematician is a device for turning coffee into theorems, Paul Erdos. Coffee smells like freshly ground heaven, Jesse Lane Adams. Coffee isn't a drug, it's a vitamin. In Seattle, you haven't had enough coffee until you can thread a sewing machine while it is running. Jeff Bezos. Everybody should believe in something. I believe I'll have another coffee, Anonymous. It is inhumane, in my opinion, to force people who have a genuine medical need for coffee to wait in line behind people who apparently view it as some kind of recreational activity. I bet this kind of thing does not happen to heroin addicts. I bet that when serious heroin addicts go to purchase their heroin, they do not tolerate waiting in line while some dilettante in front of them orders a hazelnut smaccaccino with cinnamon sprinkles from none other than Dave Barry, Mr. General Evaluator.
My comments? That's what
You've done
that's what she says.
You're done.
I'm done. Yeah. So now I'd like to turn it over to our Toastmasters, Dan Craig.
Yay!
Now it's time for the awards section, which is a little limited tonight. But let's have a good drum roll for table topics. Our winner is the Queen, the timer.
Queen James! Yay!
Was I supposed to read the name on here? And our best speaker tonight in a close race, Diane with Beth. And I guess we don't need a drum roll for our best evaluator, Ron Kerr.
What a surprise.
Now, I'm going to turn the meeting back over to our president, Will Burns.
Yo!
Thank you, Dan. I will start by asking for any closing comments from our guest. If Ron has anything else to say. You've already said enough. I mean, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Staying here with did an amazing job staying with the other trainers here in the building.
Well, I'm just always amazed at the way people pull this off. I still don't have my mind wrapped around your timetables, all these different sections. And I think that would be a challenge for me. So I'm very proud of everyone staying on time and doing their part. I'm impressed.
Thank you. Yeah, it's always something that's always amazed me when I came here, and over time it's gotten a little bit simpler to understand slightly. But I still am amazed by how the gears actually operate behind the scenes, make it all happen. And it takes a lot of effort from everybody here to make that happen. So thank you all for that. And with that,
How about we talk about the club and area contests that are coming up?
yes, we covered that last night, or last time.
To Scott.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Scott, you
Well, yeah, well, sure, Scott. I mean, you're a member, but you're a guest for us.
Oh, well, guess today.
Yes, yeah.
I find it amazing how different clubs are different, how they operate differently, the rules and structure, and every nuance becomes central to a different club in a different way, which I find really interesting. How you might rearrange and have table topics at the beginning instead of the end as we did it, or the way that you would do it, or I just love it.
Yay!
And with that,
Contest.
boom.
Contest.
Ron Kerr,
Yes.
regarding the contest here.
We got lots of time.
Thank you, Mr. President. The twice a year, as we mentioned last week, and we'll be reminding you every week, we have the contests coming up. First is our club contest, and then the winners from the clubs will go up to area. The area contest will be here also, and that's kind of nice because the area could go as far, I think it's as far as Davenport, but for our purposes, we'll be here. Contests are a great time. This particular contest will be an evaluation. So we need a series of volunteers, and one will be a target speaker, someone who will get up and speak, give a talk, and have 3, 4, 5 maybe evaluations in the evaluation contest. It's a great time to get a lot of good feedback. So be thinking about if you want to give the speech or if you want to evaluate the speech also, because that's keys. And then also the speech itself is 5 to 7 minutes. It's a humorous speech. So time to tickle the old funny bone and come up with something funny. I can't, but somebody, I'm sure some of you out there can do it. So what you'll do then is give that talk here. And if you haven't been to a contest, it's quite different. It's a little more somber in a way. We start earlier. We'll have everyone come at 7 o'clock. We'll actually start at 7:30 sharp because it's more of a procedural kind of unfoldment. And we have many roles, and we'll ask you to flesh that out for us. I am the contest chair. We will need a chief judge. And that's pretty interesting because Toastmasters does a good job of taking you from scratch and bringing you into the judgment field. And we've grown up, we've seen all sorts of contests, and then people hold up the numbers and all this kind of stuff. So how do those people get there and actually make the judgment? If it's for athletics, they probably went through it themselves, so they know what it feels like. If it's dancing, they're top dancers. But here we're talking about speeching. Okay, that's good. Speeching, or making a speech or evaluating. There's a nice, very nice way that you will be shown and guided through that so that when you sit down, randomly sitting around and making the judgment, you feel comfortable with that role. And you'll come a little bit earlier, the chief judge will actually coach you through that, and then you'll be shown all those details. So everything is just like in Toastmasters, as you're pointing out, everything's very carefully clicked and geared to run very smoothly to get the most out of it for everyone. So volunteers will need, a series of volunteers will need a sergeant of arms, 2 timers, there's always a double timer, because this is very important. On one hand, it's low key because it's club, but the winner does go to area, and the area will go to division. Division will go all the way up to district. So that's state. So when you go, that's state. And we've had a number of winners here now, mostly at HIP. Take state for us, and that's a lot of prestige for the club. But it's also a lot of fun, and a lot of challenge, and a lot of growth for the participants.
What are the dates?
Our contest coming up is the 25th. It'll be the last Tuesday of next month. But next month starts next week, so it's really the end of this week. So it's coming up pretty soon. So we'll want to be thinking about that if we're going to. And I would recommend, if you don't take a role, if you really don't want to participate as a contender, then definitely take a role. But otherwise, you definitely want to do the evaluation or give the speech. It can be a manual speech, that's all right. Now, there was a rule about 6 speeches for the
Judges now.
Is that the club level also, Tom?
Judges have to have given, that's the new thing that changed. My understanding is you have to have given 6 speeches to be a judge. It wasn't before. But there is no speech giving for the humorous. It's only for the international. You have to have given 6 speeches to be in the contest. That's the only one that has it. But to be a judge now, you have to have given 6 speeches.
So it's a judge.
Or any kind of judging.
Any kind of judging. That's new.
Okay, good. So then we all know if we qualify for that. And it's interesting that, was it Chris last week said, well, you only had 2. Well, what if I do 4 more by the contest? Great. Yes, of course, do it. We have another club as well. We have an advanced club called Speakers Trust. Once you've completed your Competent Communicators Manual, you're welcome to come visit with us and join that club as well. And there we're a little bit more, not quite so procedural, but much more there. In other words, evaluation is you're going to be evaluated by everyone immediately right after your talk. It's a little more hardball, not in a hard sense, but in the sense that it isn't quite so, it's a little bit more ramped up for folks that want to take the next step, want a little more closer attention.
Once a month.
Once a month, and also if you need to give a speech for credit for here, you're welcome to join us there. It's another venue. So we have 2 places. So in other words, we could give more speeches. There was a Toastmaster who joined and did their 10 talks for Competent Communicator in 10 weeks. When somebody pulled him up and said, why'd you do this so quick? And I said, the guy said, well, did I have a choice? I thought that's what you're supposed to do.
That's a Toastmaster joke.
Oh, is it? Yeah. That's a good one. So anyway, the point is you don't really have to take a lot of time between these talks. So that would be good. Does anyone have any preferences in terms of volunteering for now? I have one contender so far on the list.
For the humor.
Yes. So we'll just let it rest in this, but be thinking about this.
Contender.
Okay, for humorous? Okay, great.
Good, all right.
And Rahul Vats is going to be
He's going to do it too.
doing his bomb thing. He's going to.
Jesus.
Yes.
Right.
I like to.
Content. All right.
Yes.
3 humorous people? Okay, good. I've got you. I'll be sending out more email and prompting you that way you can get back to me as well. That's it for me. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Just a couple more dates, since we are also hosting the area contest as well. You can put that in your calendar. That's Tuesday, October 9th is the area contest.
That's here in the evening?
That's here in the evening,
Oh, that's really nice, because a lot of times you have to go Saturday morning somewhere
Right.
else, so that's a big plus.
October 9th, Tuesday. And then the division contest, where the winners from area move on to the division, is October 13th. That is Saturday, following right up there, Saturday, and I believe it's up in Davenport.
Muscatine, I thought.
Muscatine. I always get all those, that cluster up there all confused. But anyway, it's up there.
And then you're free until the second weekend in November, which is district.
Right. Right. So we're actually putting on 2 contests. So Ron is the chair, and he's looking for a chief judge for the club contest on September 25th, and then the area contest on October 9th. Dan Craig is going to be the contest chair, and Will is going to be the chief judge, and then fleshing that out.
Cool. Oh, good. Now, also to remember, you have 2 manuals, especially for new members. We have the Competent Communicator, the Competent Leadership Manual. You get credit for these, and there's a couple of them, I think it's number 9 and 10, where they're a little more obscure, so you can only do them during contests. So you want to bring that manual along with you, I believe. Did you do my evaluation?
I did.
Okay, so tonight I got credit for my Competent Communicator by doing a speech evaluation for Diane. So everything that we do, we can gain credit for that, and that's a big plus, not only for ourselves, but also for the club, because this is part of our requirements, is that we're the #1 club, and we like to keep it that way, so we need to make sure.
Only 7 years in a row.
Yes, if you look at it from one show, the yellow dots means that's us. And let me tell you, there's some heat out there. There's a couple of people that are, they're miffed. They want this thing. So you gotta stay focused. Yes?
I was just going to say that if you help, if you're a judge or you're a timer with the contest, or you can get credit. One of the competent leader things is helping with, and so we can get a lot of club credit out of an event like that.
All right, in your Competent Communicator manual, there are 45 tasks listed.
Later, that's the later manual.
Sorry, leadership, competent leadership. You need to do only 21 or 22, depending on these tasks. And you can do that during the thing. How do I know? I got my little cheat sheet there. You see that 45 tasks listed? Yeah, so. Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, that'll do it.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Do I have any volunteers for any of the roles that want to do this at this point? I think Ron just asked for any.
Judge?
Boom. Yep.
Cindy will be a judge.
For judge.
Cindy, what?
Cindy for judge.
And did you say 2?
We're out of town that week.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, they tell you they canceled that trip. The contest is
No. Ask for help cleaning up.
All right, well, we're going to be out of here a little bit early tonight, but certainly we could use some help here just to clean up and get us all out of here on time, or earlier. That'd be good.
Okay.
And with that, I will end the meeting. Meeting adjourned.
Yay!